griefers. Right!
Yeah!
Really? Thank you.
Yeah, this is exactly why you can't come with us.
Disney did something pretty cool with the new Willow TV series. They let us watch 7 of the 8 episodes that is in the first season. I don't know if there's going to be a second season. I haven't heard. But Willow is based on the classic Ron Howard directed, George Lucas created Willow movie from back in the 80s that starred Val Kilmer and Joanne Whalley and Warwick Davis. And what they've done with this TV show is they've extended the lore. We're now getting to know the children of Madmartigan and Sorsha, played by Kilmer and Whalley. And we are catching up with Willow, who is an older Nelwyn sorcerer who is living on the legends of his past deeds from the Willow movie. And then there are a bunch of other interesting characters and a pretty big eclectic cast and lots of interesting cameos and surprises and lots of connections to the previous Willow experience, but then also a lot of world building and of course taking advantage of modern day visual effects prowess and kind of contemporizing the whole Willow experience. And I gotta be honest with you, I'm not the biggest Willow movie fan in the world. It came out in the sweet spot of lots of great fantasy and sci-fi choices back then. A huge George Lucas fan, like every other geek on earth. I loved the Star Wars movies, and I was really expecting to be blown away by Willow, but I wasn't. I thought it was cool, but I wasn't like freaking out for it like a lot of people were back then. But I was looking forward to seeing what they were going to do to modernize the idea. And I have to say that I was really entertained by a lot of the choices in this show. But I do think that it suffers from it kind of overstaying its welcome and taking a little bit too long to get going. This is a show that's crowded with really cool characters with really terrific performers. I'm a big fan of Ruby Cruz, who plays Kit. She is the daughter of Madmartigan and Sorsha, and she's got a twin brother named Eric, and he's played by Dempsey Bryk, and he's solid as well. Loved Ellie Bamber as Dove. She's got a really big, prominent role in here. It was awesome to see Warwick Davis reclaim this role and do a lot with it. There's a lot of really interesting nuance in his performance that calls on the comedic stylings of Willow. This is a show that doesn't take itself too seriously, and obviously some interesting new characters are introduced, like Tony Revolori as Graydon, who is this prince that doesn't really believe in himself and has to go on this crazy adventure with all of these people. And then there's also Borman, who's played by Amer Chadha-Patel, and he's terrific in this.
Ormond, you're supposed to be dead!
Well, that's not me, mate. I think you're thinking of someone else.
He, I think, represents the closest to the adventurous devil-may-care attitude of Kilmer's in the original Willow movie. His Borman is a lot of fun. He is this giant among all of these other characters, and he looks like he's been through some stuff. He's got a big old beard and lots of cool bits on his armor and a kind of a cynical, sardonic kind of quality to his delivery. And I really liked hanging out with these characters. They go on this Fellowship of the Rings-like journey to rescue one of their friends, and so it's a bit of a road show as well, and we see all kinds of different areas of this fantasy-rich land. They go into these demonic forests and these dark caverns and on this endless sea, and there is this city that stretches on and on forever. And there are also some pretty scary-looking bad guys and monsters with skulls for faces or skull masks on and gnarly teeth and lots of gooey bits on them. But there's also a tremendous amount of chatter in this show where all the characters are kind of sitting around or pairing off. People are expressing their love for each other, which was nice, but also people trying to encourage each other and really let each other know that, no, you are brave enough, and no, you are good enough, and you do have a role here. And there is just a little too much of that after episode after episode after episode. So it takes a while to kind of get going. And honestly, through all 7 of the episodes, there is this kind of chart to that as well, where it just feels like, oh, we're going to have this beat right now where everybody's going to encourage each other and try to lift each other up. And it felt like some of the stakes were lost a bit You know, there are some moments in here where it looks like things are going to get super dark and then, it pivots and everything's okay. And so let's sit down and talk about it for a little while. And no, you are good enough. You are going to be able to be a big part of this team. Let's continue on. And it's not like I wanted to see any of these characters get killed off or anything or have some horrific new shocks or surprises, because I actually really like them all. But I did feel like maybe this material, which is really solidly made, it looks good. The actors are all terrific. I love the music in this show. I love the contemporary qualities and the colloquialisms that they use and employ within the show. It's definitely taking the tropes of the fantasy stuff, things that we would see in Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power, or House of the Dragon or something like that, and modernizing it and making it feel edgy and a little silly and a little goofy. And I liked it. I like that blending. And I like being surprised by some of the actors that pop up in here as well. But I just feel like it could have got moving a little bit more, could have shocked us a little bit more with more interesting action and some higher stakes. Haven't seen the finale. I am very much looking forward to it though, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what kinds of things it leans towards in terms of, is there going to be more? Are they thinking about another Willow movie? Because I would be into that. And I'd be into seeing more from these actors because they're all really, really good. Like, it's such a great ensemble. I was super charmed by them. And there are definitely some genuine laughs and some genuine heartfelt moments. It just is a little languid. I think that's the thing. And I think that's a real danger for Disney because they're making movies in episodic form. And so we've seen a little bit of this happen with the Marvel shows and now with this fantasy show with the Star Wars stuff as well. So they look like movies, but the pacing can be kind of slow and a little ponderous. And it's a weird thing to get your mind to adjust to it because there is, I think cynically, you could look at this and just think of it as like a Xena with better visual effects, you know? But it should be more than that because of the wait for this, the love that people have for this property, and the expectation that people have when you look at something that looks so polished and so expensive like this show does. Still, I recommend it. It's definitely not my favorite thing that I've watched on Disney Plus, but it's solid. And I think if you really love Willow, you'll get a lot more out of it than I did. I'm going to give Willow a 7.5 out of 10.